Hey there guys, I'm TheRoyalGorilla and welcome to my top 5 games of 2014. Now the usual rules for this list will apply. The games will be ranked in order of my personal favourites, and if there are any games that are missed off the list, that's because of one of two reasons mainly. Either I did not like the game or I simply didn't play it. So with that in mind, let's get started with number 5. At number 5 we have a game which seriously surprised me this year with just how much time I gave it. This is of course Titanfall. Now Titanfall is a multiplayer only game, which is why I am so surprised to be putting it on this list. Now if you've been on my channel for any length of time, you'll probably know that I am more inclined to play single player focused games, which is primarily because I don't have a whole lot of interest in multiplayer unless I've got some really good friends to play with on a session. I just find it dull, quite frankly, but Titanfall somehow managed to not be dull, to be constantly exciting and engaging and actually interesting, even without other people to play with. And it's really rare that I find interest in not necessarily a first-person shooter, but a multiplayer-only first-person shooter. I am very happy that this game exists, and it's very deserving of its place on this list. And if you've got a PS4, shame you can't play it. At number 4 we are sticking with the shooter theme. This time we are going to be taking a look at Wolfenstein: The New Order. Now here is the complete opposite of Titanfall, a first-person shooter which is only single-player based. Now the reason that this is actually on this list is because it is fantastic. What normally happens with a first-person shooter is all of the emphasis and all the effort is put into the multiplayer. This happens all the time with Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, anything else with a multiplayer component that you can think of, and the game is essentially made for multiplayer and the single player is just tacked on afterwards. This, on the other hand, has no multiplayer, and therefore all of the work has been put into the single player, and you can tell this game is phenomenally good. It's a first-person shooter which allows you to dual-wield assault rifles like you can see right now. You can dual-wield shotguns, you can even dual-wield sniper rifles, and still they manage to include characters that you actually care for and a storyline which you want to see through to the end. If you haven't played this game yet, I definitely recommend it, even if it is just for the bombastic 80s action movie vibe that the entire game has. It's definitely one of my favourite games of the year. At number 3, we are once again sticking with the first-person shooters. It seems to be a theme this year with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. This was a very pleasant surprise for me. Since Call of Duty Ghosts, well, since Call of Duty Black Ops 2, my interest in the Call of Duty franchise has been dropping phenomenally. By the time it got to Ghosts, I had hardly any interest in the series. I played Ghosts just to see if it was any good, and of course it wasn't. So along came Call of Duty Advanced Warfare with new developer Sledgehammer Games, and everyone was a bit apprehensive, and rightly so, because the track record of Call of Duty lately hasn't been great. But what they created was one of the best Call of Duty games since, I'd say, Modern Warfare 2 in my opinion. It's just tons of fun. The multiplayer is also really fun. It's kind of got the Titanfall-esque vibe to it. A lot of games have that this year with the whole, what would you say it is? It's not really mech suits, it's more exoskeletons. That's what I was looking for. That seems to be a nice theme going through this year, and although the movement isn't quite as fun and fluid as Titanfall, I found the gameplay just more engaging. And since this does actually have a single player storyline along with the exo survival and soon to be zombies, which is a definite personal favourite of mine, it surpasses Titanfall. Only just, but it does surpass it. So, well done Sledgehammer Games, Call of Duty is back on my radar. At number 2, we have a game that's not actually a first-person shooter, which seems incredible. It is, of course, the incredible Xbox One exclusive, Sunset Overdrive. Now, Sunset Overdrive is a game that I got very late into the year. I actually only got it at Christmas, and I'd already recorded this video once with a couple of other games on this list, which, quite frankly, have now disappeared thanks to 2 games I got over the Christmas period, which have both been phenomenal and completely taken up all of my time. This is one of them, and Sunset Overdrive, it's really hard to explain this game without actually getting to play it. It's the kind of game where you watch the trailer and you see someone slide on a telegraph pole like I am now, shoot a zombie in the face, and jump on a car, launch into the air, and dropkick a human and make him explode into blood. And you're like, oh, that's a really cool trailer. And then you go into the game, and then you can do something a million times cooler, and it's just so much fun to have this kind of really fluid movement system. And I kind of played a bit of Assassin's Creed Unity, and the movement just felt so sluggish now after playing this. I was like, this isn't really as fun as it used to be, purely because Sunset Overdrive's movement system is just bonkers. It's so much fun, and you can do all these wacky stuff which are nowhere near realistic, and you can never say that there's anything in this game that is remotely realistic. But quite frankly, that's one of the things I love about video games, is that you can just go mental with them, and you can do anything you want, and you can have anything happen, and they're just for having a good time. And complete freedom is the purpose of video games, in my opinion. That's what I like to play them for. I don't like being driven through linear storylines, and open worlds are definitely where it's at. And Sunset Overdrive has an awesome open world with awesome gameplay mechanics, and it's just something really fresh, really new. And it's definitely one of my favourite Xbox One games of all time. Even though there's not that many, but it's definitely incredible. And if you have a chance to have a play of it, do it. Okay, so we are finally here at my top game of 2014. This is another late entry, and it's Far Cry 4. Now, I wasn't really sure what to expect with Far Cry 4 because, quite frankly, I adored Far Cry 3. And Far Cry 4 is just more of Far Cry 3, just in a new setting with new weapons, new vehicles, new enemies, new storyline, and just everything's new apart from the structure of the game itself. Everything will look familiar if you've played Far Cry 3. The gameplay will feel familiar, but everything will just seem that little bit fresher, a little more refined. And it's just more Far Cry 3, and that is never a bad thing, especially if you, like me, really liked Far Cry 3. I spent far too many hours in that game, and I have spent far too many hours in Far Cry 4. It's one of those games that just keeps giving. I've completed the story, and I'm still playing just to do little side quests. And when a game keeps me wanting to play just for the side quests, you know it's done something right, because most of the time, side quests are just some grindy bollocks. But in Far Cry 4, I actually find myself wanting to go out into the world to find new stories and create new experiences for myself, because it's just one of those games that you can keep playing. And I know once I've finished all of the side objectives, collected all the packages, then I won't have anything to do, which is the same as Far Cry 3. But quite frankly, that time hasn't come yet, and I'm hoping it doesn't come anytime soon. It is definitely one of the most fun games I've played this year, even though it's essentially the same game as came out, what was it, last year or the year before? I'm not really sure. Anyway guys, that was my top 5 games of 2014. I hope you enjoyed the list, and will be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below which games you enjoyed this year, and if you think my list is utter bollocks or not. So, I will end it here. Happy New Year everyone, and I wish you a prosperous and healthy 2015. I've been the Royal Gorilla. Here's to a new year of content. Over and out.
His name is Luke, and he's more than your average gamer. No ordinary let's player. Know about Easter eggs much better. Da 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 da. His name is Luke, aka the Royal Gorilla. Even bigger than the giant Godzilla. Follow him in every game he goes. Da 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 da. He's almost got everything you need, from GTA 5 to Assassin's Creed.